Welcome back, Holistic Soul Sisters. I'm Mandy Rose, your holistic health coach, spiritual mentor, and astrologer. Today's video is going to be all about the full moon in Capricorn. And I know so many of us are just going through it right now. We just came out of the eclipses. We had Mercury go retrograde. We have other planets already retrograde, more coming up in just the next few weeks. So there is a lot going on in the astrology right now. So in this video, we are going to talk about the basics of the full moon in Capricorn. I'm going to give you guys some details on what does Capricorn and Cancer represent. We're also going to talk about some fun facts that this full moon is actually doing right now. And then lastly, we're going to talk about a couple aspects of the other planets and how they are communicating with this full moon to help us dive into our own personal journey and move forward with our future. So we're going to keep it really short and simple, get through this, and I hope that this full moon helps you release, bring some things to light, and end some cycles in your life that have just been a struggle. So let's go into the basics. What is going on at this full moon in Capricorn? So this full moon is going to be happening on June 24th at 2:38 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's happening at 3 degrees of Capricorn. So what that means is that the sun is going to be at 3 degrees of Cancer, and the moon is going to be directly opposite at 3 degrees of Capricorn. And full moons are all about endings, closing of a chapter, things coming to light because the moon is so bright in the sky. We're able to see things clearly. It's a culmination. It's just really the ending of a cycle. So we need to go back to when we had the last new moon in Capricorn. Right now it's a full moon in Capricorn. We're going to go back to the last new moon in Capricorn, which happened this year on January 13th. So if you can think back to what was going on in your life around the new moon in Capricorn back in January, and this is a wrapping up of that. So maybe that was a time in your life after the new year when you started coming up with new ideas and you started having new epiphanies of what direction you wanted to take your life in 2021. You wrote down those New Year's resolutions and you decided to start moving forward in some direction in your life. And now here we are 6 months later where that decision that you started is coming to light. You're going to have to make one last final decision to solidify and move forward and close out that chapter for good. So we're having a lot of confusion at this full moon where one side is saying, oh, this emotion, it's really hard to let go. I'm not sure if this is what I want to do. And the other side is like, look at the facts. We got to make this decision. We got to keep going. We got to keep moving forward. So you're going to notice as I talk through this video, there's a lot of oppositions, a lot of back and forth, a lot of not sure what to do. And this is the time for us to stand in our truth and figure out what direction we want to go in and really honestly commit to that. So the first question you're going to want to ask yourself during this full moon is, what do I want to keep in my life? And what do I want to let go of? So the interesting thing about this full moon is that Cancer, where the sun is all about our emotions. It's a water sign. So it helps us kind of bring in our intuition and our sensitivity. And it has a lot of nostalgia. Cancer rules nostalgic and family and home and wanting to feel safe, secure, and comfortable. If you caught my Cancer season video, I'll link it up above here if you haven't caught it yet, but make sure you tune into that because Cancer season is going on for the next 4 weeks. And when the sun is in Cancer, it's heightening our intuition. It's heightening our emotions. However, the moon, which is typically our emotional ruling planet, is over here in Capricorn. And Capricorn is an earth sign. So it's all about logic and concrete evidence, and it wants the facts, the hard facts. Let's talk about some Capricorn themes because that is what's going to be coming up at this full moon and being illuminated in the sky. So what does Capricorn represent? Capricorn themes are all about legal matters, following the rules, having laws, institutions, having a guidance system to follow. It's all about our leaders and our government. It rules the facts. It wants predictability. It wants to know what's going to happen. And it rules our traditions and conservatism. So on one side, we're over here in this full moon saying, let's go by our emotions. We're ready to try something new. I'm ready to step into this new chapter. And Capricorn's all about, I want to follow the rules and I want to know exactly what's going to happen. And we have to do things legally and logically and structurally. So you're going to want to find out where Capricorn falls in your birth chart to see what area of your life is going to be illuminated and where are you going to be releasing and letting go of the rules, loosening up a little bit on the restrictions, loosening up a little bit on the traditions and how it always has to be done, because this is a period of letting go so we can move forward in the next chapter. So we're going to dive right into that as we talk about the fun facts about this specific full moon. So there's actually a lot of oppositions going on at this full moon. I'm going to be posting this chart right here of the full moon. This is the birth chart of the full moon that's happening at 2:38 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we can see that the sun and the moon are in opposition of each other. That's what makes a full moon. But we also have the planets Saturn and Mars in an opposition to each other. And we're going to talk more about that in just a moment, but I want you guys to see on the chart here that there is a lot of things going on with the other planets, a lot of conversations, a lot of energy flying through the air. Another fun fact about specifically this full moon is that we have two planets in retrograde. Jupiter and Saturn are already retrograde. Mercury just came out of retrograde 2 days ago to prepare us for this full moon, to prepare us to make decisions. Remember, Mercury is all about communication and our logic and our analytical mind, and we cannot make sound decisions when Mercury's retrograde. So Mercury came out of retrograde, giving us our clarity back, giving us our ability to analyze a situation, giving us our ability to take the facts into our heart and make a decision that soothes our mind and our heart. So that's perfect at this full moon. We also have the planet Neptune about to go retrograde the day after this full moon. So that means at the exact time of this full moon in the sky, Neptune is what we call stationing direct. And stationing direct means that he's about to go retrograde. So he was on his path going in this direction, and then he realized, oh, I got to turn around. So that moment where he slows down and starts to make his turn to go backwards over the same path is what he's doing at this full moon. So he's slowing down. And if you haven't caught my Neptune retrograde video, make sure you check that out after this one, because you're going to want to know what that means. Neptune rules our illusions, our fantasies. He's a dreamer. So you need to know what to anticipate with this energy over the next 5 months as he's retrograde, so you can allow him to be your life coach in this area of your life as you make this decision at this full moon, as you move forward with your life. How is Neptune going to affect us? And a third fun fact about this full moon is that this is the first moon in Capricorn, whether it's a new moon in Capricorn or a full moon in Capricorn, that has occurred in the last year and a half that has not been an eclipse. And what does this mean? Right now, the eclipses that just happened 2 weeks and 4 weeks ago have been in Gemini and Sagittarius. Now, the eclipses last in a specific sign for about 18 months, and then they will shift and go into a new sign. Well, last year, all of 2020 and into 2019, the eclipses were actually happening in Cancer and Capricorn. So the last time that we had a new moon in Capricorn, it was an eclipse. The last time we had a full moon in Capricorn, it was an eclipse. The new moon before that was an eclipse. So we've been having a lot of energy flying around in the zodiac sign of Cancer and Capricorn the last 18 months. And this is the first moon, this full moon in Capricorn in a while that doesn't have an eclipse tied to it. So this really is the ending and the wrapping up of all that energy, everything new that we began, everything that we ended and closed out. This is that final moment of saying, I am done with these Capricorn themes in my life and I'm ready to move forward into the next chapter. And the last fun fact about this full moon is that we have a lot of planets in their home sign. They are at home. We have a Jupiter in Pisces. And if you haven't caught my Jupiter retrograde video, make sure you check that out as well, because I talk about how Jupiter feels when he's in his home sign of Pisces. It's like he moved to the Maldives and he's living his best life when he's home here in Pisces. We have Saturn in Aquarius. He rules Aquarius and he's going to be here for 3 years. So he's at home doing his work. And then we also have Mercury in Gemini. Mercury is the ruler of Gemini. So at this full moon, we have 3 planets doing their work, back on their home turf, really helping us perpetuate the themes that we need to release and let go of. So next up, I want to talk about the oppositions that are happening. I kind of mentioned this earlier, so we're going to dive into the specific aspects that the other planets are making and what conversations they're trying to add in on top of this full moon. So there are a lot of oppositions going on in the sky right now. And what that means is we have a lot of back and forth energy. We have a lot of disruption. One planet saying this and the other saying that. This one's saying go forward and this one's saying go backward. And this one's saying we have to evaluate this, but no, we have to come back and revisit that. So there's a lot of dueling energy. And we can feel that within our soul, right? Because all the planets are imprinted within us. And then we can feel their energy of this back and forth. And I don't know what to do. So the first opposition, like I mentioned, is the sun and the moon. We have water emotions to the earth and the hard facts of the sun and the moon. Back and forth. Do I follow my heart? Do I follow my logic? Do I follow what other people want me to do? Do I follow what my inner heart says to do? Do I follow the rules and the authority, Capricorn? Or do I follow my emotions and what I want and my own heart and what I believe to be true, Cancer? So we're already feeling that with the moon itself. But then we're also feeling it with Saturn and Mars. And this is huge because Saturn has been playing with us the entire year. Saturn has home field advantage. He's at home in Aquarius. And Saturn is teaching us all these lessons about our structure and our foundation. He wants to take things slow. He wants to do one thing at a time, build that foundation one day, one brick at a time, one decision. He doesn't want us to rush into things. He wants us to make logical decisions that will set us up for the rest of our future. But he's retrograde right now. He's moving backwards. He's moving slower. He's making us revisit a lot of the structures and things that we have put into motion since the beginning of the year. And then on the other side, we have a completely opposite energy. We have Mars in Leo. Mars is all about our stamina and our passion and our entrepreneurship. It's about being bold. It's about not being afraid. It's about stepping into our light. It wants autonomy. It wants freedom. It wants to just be bold and fearless and to rush forward towards our dreams. And Leo fuels the fire. Leo is all about the sun and our vitality and our confidence and hear me roar. Mars and Leo is like get shit done energy. I just want to go crush the world. So we have this huge duality in our energy of what should we go? Should we not? What should we do? Saturn's over here like, no, we got to slow down, build one thing at a time. We got to create a foundation. We can't be rushing, take our time. Saturn is slow. He's the timekeeper. He's the taskmaster. He's all about karma. He's our tough love dad. And he's like, no. We can't just be running around with our pants on fire, making bold decisions. This is so uncomfortable. Plus he's retrograde, actually wanting us to go inward and say, am I mature enough to make these decisions? Am I making the right decisions? How are they going to affect me long term? So there's a lot of dueling energy going on here. So this is like the analogy of pressing the brake and the gas at the exact same time. You're not going anywhere. You're literally just wasting gas and you're burning out your brakes. So just take it easy at the time of this full moon, feel that energy, acknowledge it, and just let some time pass until Saturn and Mars get out of opposition with each other. Mars is going to move forward a little bit, Saturn's going to move backwards a little bit, and then that's going to give us a little bit more clarity. So don't rush and jump into any decisions, just kind of analyze them right now at this full moon. Now, the other crazy thing that's affecting this opposition with Saturn and Mars is that we have Uranus, the planet of liberation, of freedom, of autonomy, of breaking the rules, of shaking things up. He's all about rebellion. No, we're going to do things a totally different way. We don't need to do it the way we've always done it. Uranus is coming into play over here because he's in a square with Saturn. Because he's in a square with Saturn, he's also in a square with Mars. So we have this T-square going on with Uranus is like a lightning bolt change. You never know what's going to happen when he comes into town. So for the entire year of 2021, the theme is Saturn and Uranus square. This has been going on all year and will continue on for the rest of the year. But now you got Mars coming in here, even adding to this fire. So there's a lot of energy going on with these oppositions. So I'm going to give you guys some beautiful news to wrap up this full moon video, and that's the aspect and the role that Jupiter is playing in this full moon. Like I said, the moon is also in an opposition, but Jupiter is blessing this opposition. Whereas Saturn and Mars is getting a little bit of a rebellion struggle with Uranus in a square, the sun and the moon are actually getting a great aspect, a great conversation with Jupiter, who's at home in Pisces and he's living his best life. Although he is retrograde, Jupiter retrogrades allow us to go inward and figure out that we have everything we need inside of us. If you haven't caught the Jupiter retrograde video, again, make sure you check it out because you're going to want to know Jupiter rules our joy, our abundance, our luck, our finances, our faith, our belief systems. So when he's retrograde, he's asking us to go in and believe that we have everything inside us to create financial abundance. We have everything within us to create our own joy and our happiness. So he is creating a beautiful triangle to the sun and the moon opposition. So Jupiter is pretty much saying, I am bringing my blessing. I am bringing abundance, and I'm giving you the green light to trust and believe in yourself. That the decision that you're making at this full moon, the decision to let go and release something related to the Capricorn themes of your life, letting go of old rules, letting go of old limitations, letting go of this old way of having to climb to the top. Capricorn, success, ambition, number one. Capricorn is all about the material and getting to the top, having the biggest house, having the biggest car, having all the material possessions. It's time to let that go. And Jupiter is saying, if you let that go and you go towards your Cancer heart, your emotions, care about your family, care about your home life, care about the things that are actually important, make those decisions at this full moon. Jupiter is saying, I'm here in full support, having a trine to the sun, a sextile with the moon, and blessing us with his abundance. So that is beautiful news as we wrap up this video. I'm going to give you guys two other small nuggets of wisdom about this full moon before we wrap it up. And one of them is about Lilith. And she's all about bringing out that feminine energy within us. And where she is right now in the sky is at 10 degrees of Gemini. That is right on top of the North Node. That was the last eclipse that we had in Gemini just 2 weeks ago. And so what she is adding to this conversation is go with your feminine energy. The North Node, our future destiny, our purpose, our passion, our mission. If you follow your feminine energy, Cancer also rules our feminine energy. If you follow that and tap into that while you make your decision, you can't go wrong. And the other thing is Cancer rules our past. It's our nostalgia. It's the things that we remember from way back when. And this full moon is saying, don't go off the past. Don't make your decisions based on what it was in the past, because the way that we remember the past isn't always logical. Remember, I said Mercury's in his home sign of Gemini. He just came out of retrograde. So he had a purpose to come out of retrograde for this full moon, and that's to help us make logical decisions. But with that, we can sometimes remember the past falsely. So don't make decisions based on the past. Make decisions based on the future. These eclipses that just happened 2 weeks and 4 weeks ago are meant to push us towards our destiny, push us towards our heart's desire. And I wish nothing more for you guys at this full moon. So if you have your 2021 retrograde astrology journal, don't forget to fill out your journal prompts. I have the new moon ritual in here for you guys. So make sure you do that. If you do it, I would love to see you posted in our Holistic Soul Sister Facebook group. I love seeing your individual takes on all the rituals. So make sure you share that in our group. If you haven't joined our Facebook group, please do. The link is in the description box below. Thank you guys so much for tuning into my video. Make sure you catch all those retrograde videos. We have a lot of retrograde energy going on. It's lasting all the way till October and some retrogrades until the end of the year. And we have a lot more coming up. We have Neptune about to go retrograde. We have Chiron, Uranus, another Mercury retrograde, and we're ending the year with Venus retrograde. So make sure you hit subscribe and like to not miss any of those videos. And thank you guys again for tuning in. I'll catch you in the next video.